Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to actually set achievable goals. I know it's 2 weeks into 2025 now. A lot of you guys set goals for this year, be it for the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, whatever it is. And I know the significant majority of you have actually broken those goals you guys set for 25. So I'm going to be teaching you guys late 25, late January. That way going into 26, you guys actually set goals and achieve those goals because you actually have a system in place that guarantees you achieve the goals you set for 26. We can't save 25 because we're already halfway through January, but 26 for sure we can save. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, if you want to achieve goals, you have to understand looking at goals from a lengthy point of view, from a lengthy perspective, makes it seem overwhelming, in turn unachievable, right? But if you break it down into bite sizes, reverse engineer it, right? Now you're able to take it by chunks, and over the span of time, those chunks accumulate into a whole goal. This is the lens you want to see goals setting from. It's really easy when you cut your steak into multiple pieces. This goes same for food, for anything really. The majority of stuff seem overwhelming, but once you portion it and partition it, it starts to be more welcoming and more achievable, right? For you guys who don't eat a lot of food, let's say back in the days when you were still in your mother's basement and she had lunch ready and it was a huge bowl of rice and you couldn't finish it, what you would do is cut out a specific portion to the dish, to the plate where you can actually eat that portion. Afterwards, the remainder, you can cut more portion from it into your plate and eat it. Before you know it, you're done eating a whole bowl of rice you thought you probably wouldn't have been able to eat if you were eating it from the bowl itself, right? But by partitioning it, you were able to pretty much finish the bowl of rice. So that's the same system we're applying into goal setting. That's how you want to look at it. Every goal is pretty much achievable. I mean, think about it. Everything we see, we feel, and we touch came from a person's mind. They thought about it and they brought it into reality. As they say, they manifested it. Not in the woo-woo way TikTok's made it to be, but in the actual physical and logical way that things happen, right? So everything was made from a man's head. It came into reality because they thought it into existence. You can think your goals into existence. All you have to do is just reverse engineer it, figure out what the hardest part is going to be, figure out what the easiest part is going to be, figure out what the mid part is going to be, not too hard, not too easy, and start with the easiest. That will give you the inspiration and the morale to go to the mid part. That will also give you the inspiration and the morale to then tackle the hard one. A lot of you guys, what you guys do is try to tackle the hard stuff first and you guys just fail and give up essentially. That is not the smart way of going about it. You want to tackle the easy stuff first, because tackling it reinforces your competence. Like, okay, I did this easy stuff, I can tackle this a little bit. So it gives you the confidence and the competence to tackle the hard stuff as the ladder of difficulty increases, right? That is how you want to see it. So in order to set achievable goals, this is a must to break down your goals into chunks. The first chunk being daily chunks, second being weekly chunks, third being monthly chunks, fourth and final being quarterly chunks. Now, this is self-explanatory, but I'm going to go into details how that works. So the quarterly chunks are the 4 pieces of the goals, right? Where it's not easy, but it's not hard. It's the mid-section of the goal, right? So that is where you bring a couple mid-section together. It forms the hard section and you're like, oh, I've been able to tackle this hard section because you split it up into quarters, right? That is how you should think about it. Think of it as a puzzle. You've essentially built a puzzle into 4 quarters. All you have to do is put all quarters together and you now have the whole puzzle built out. So you essentially chunk out each quarter of the puzzle, each quarter of the goal, set it aside. From that puzzle, you chunk out the monthly chunks. This is stuff you must achieve on a monthly basis. From that, you chunk out the weekly chunks, pieces of the puzzle you have to put together on a weekly basis, then daily chunks. These are the chunks that must be done or met on a daily basis, right? These are tasks, input that will compound to output, which would help you eventually achieve the goal. So daily tasks, these are mandatory daily tasks you have to do on a daily basis that when compiled together forms a weekly chunk, right? So if it's to lose weight, your goal is to lose 5 pounds a week, you will have to shoot for 1 pound a day or half a pound a day. That'll get you much closer to 5 pounds a week, which in turn will get you much closer to 20 pounds a month. That is how you're supposed to see it. If it's a fitness type of goal, if it's financial, you can do the same. If you're saving to buy a vehicle that costs $10,000, but you only have $5,000, you have $5,000 to save up over the next year, pretty much, over 2025. What you would do is split it up into quarters. $5,000 divided by 4, that's gonna be like $1,250. So each quarter your goal should be $1,250, right? So from $1,250, you would split that into 3 as well for 3 months. So $1,250 divided by 3 comes out to, if my math is correct, 400 or something around that. So whatever that is, you would reverse engineer that into weekly and eventually daily chunks. This goes for everything, be it financial, be it weight loss, nutrition, whatever your goal is, you can apply this daily chunk methodology. It's the input that is the important word. Input necessary on a daily basis that when compounded together forms a weekly chunk. So next we're going to weekly chunks. It's the same thing as daily chunks. The difference is weekly chunks when compounded forms a monthly chunk, right? So these are sub goals that will get you closer to your main goal, right? So that is how to think about it. So weekly chunks compounded into monthly chunks. These are a no-brainer. You must achieve them, and the way to achieve them is by achieving the daily chunks. So it's a compounding effect. You compound the daily, that in turn means the weekly gets compounded, but the weekly will not get compounded if the daily does not get compounded. Same thing goes for monthly. The monthly only gets compounded if the weekly gets compounded from the daily being compounded. So daily is the most important aspect of this chunking, right? Because if you do miss a daily aspect of your chunking, it'll significantly reduce your progression towards your goal, and it'll become ultimately an unachievable goal. But if you want your goal to be actually achievable, daily is the main focus. It is the bare minimum required and necessary on a daily basis. That'll in effect compound to the weekly, which ultimately results to the monthly chunks. That would ultimately take you to your quarterly chunk. So in a quarter, if it's weight loss, now you've lost 60 pounds, 60 times 4, you've lost 240 fatty, and you would have gone down from 400 pounds, for instance, to minus 240 pounds, right? So that is how to compound your chunks into an achievable annual goal. Daily chunks, that is the most important. That compounds upwards to the weekly chunks, which makes the monthly chunks. The monthly chunks ultimately forms the quarterly chunks, and once you've dialed in the quarterly chunks, towards the end of the year, you just put everything together and you would have seen that you have now achieved your goal by chunking everything down. So this is a quick visualization that breaks the process down. By the way, if you do want the PDF version of this visualization, click the link down below. You do have to put in an application because we're not sending this to any airhead on the internet. So click the link below, put in an application, and you will get a PDF version. This is essentially an SOP, goal setting SOP that will help you achieve your goal. You can print this out, on the wall, on your whiteboard, or your pinboard, and see it on a daily basis to remember your goals for 25 or eventually 26, right? So daily chunk, you see, is the head of everything, right? It is the most important because this is what compounds the most. This is where you want to put your focus on. It is the main man, it's the boss, it's the mafia boss, it's the final boss. Weekly chunks is the second important. Daily compounds to weekly, right? So you must go from 1 to 2 to 3, effectively to 4. Weekly chunks compounds to the monthly chunks, which eventually compounds to the quarterly chunks, and that is how you get your goal. Again, daily is the most important. If you miss a day, you will effectively mess up your compounding effect. Take the daily chunking extremely serious. Take it down to the bare minimum. It doesn't have to be hard. Let it be a minimum that is achievable on a daily basis. Set an alarm for it if you have to. Pin it on your wall if you have to. Have someone call you each day. Do it if you have to. Whatever you have to do to make sure you make the daily tasks. Do it, and that will effectively compound for you in achieving a goal. Let me know what you guys think about this video down in the comment section. Catch you guys later.